So in this particular tutorial, what I'm going to show you is the ombre method using Decolour Stripper. Now this is incredibly easy to do. If you're actually wanting to do this while I'm talking, what you can do is leave this on and then pause it as and when you need to. So as we go through, I'll tell you on the screen when you can pause to get on with your ombre. So Melissa, who is going to be featured on this, is in my hair looks team, and I advised her how to do this remotely through step-by steps, and what she's been able to do is achieve some really fantastic photographs because she's actually a photographer. So I'm going to put a link to her website at the bottom of this page so you can view her other shots if you want to. So the key with ombre isn't dip dyeing. So with dip dyeing, what you want is a definite line in the hair, so that when you've got your purple or your blue or your red or your vibrant colour, there's a definite barrier between your natural colour and the fashion shade. Ombre basically means light to dark or shadowing. So the key is to have a colour that merges from a depth to mid, from the mid lengths all the way to very light at the tips. So you can do this very easily with Decolour Stripper. The very first thing you must remember to do is you have to clarify the hair. The reason you've got to clarify it is that there's quite a lot of build up sometimes on people's hair, and it's not possible for some colourants to get through this barrier and into the hair, and this will often happen with products that don't have ammonia, because ammonia is quite it will kind of sort of remove a lot of barriers on the hair because it's quite strong, and it will force the cuticle open. So in general, if you're using a non-ammonia product, whether it's a colour remover, a hair colorant, a lightener and a stripper, you should always clarify the hair. Even if you use baby shampoo, just clarify it several times before you begin. So if we go on to the first step, the key to a good ombre and an easy ombre method is to make sure that you separate the hair into two bunches when it's still quite damp. Not soaking wet, but just damp. The reason being is you'll get a really good tension in the hair, and you can set the bunches quite evenly without any of the hair falling out. So as you can see here, what Melissa has done is she's put her hair into two different bunches evenly, and that's the other key. They have to be even. If one's higher than the other, you're going to have a wonky ombre. So you put your two bunches in, and then you comb the hair out so it's nice and smooth. Now what you can do is you can back comb the hair very slightly at the top of the bunch, and what that will do is it will just break up the final line between the last piece of ombre and where the hair stops having the colour. So the next step is to mix up your Decolour Stripper. You have to use a tint bowl and brush. That's crucial. You can't do it from the bottle because you won't get precision. So only mix up 50% of the parts A and part B, the sachet. The reason being is that you're not doing the whole head, and so you shouldn't need the whole lot. So you can then mix up 50% of the sachet, 50% of the developer, and then you can actually keep the rest if you want to go back and either do it again to get a lighter result, or in a few months if your ombre is starting to grow down. So the very first thing you do once you've mixed up your stripper in your tint bowl and with your brush is you start by applying the stripper to the very ends of the hair, as you can see Melissa is doing here. So what you want to do is you want to evenly apply it to the very ends of those bunches one at a time. So if you apply a bit on one bunch, you go back and apply it to the other side and make sure it's even. What you then do is once you've applied it to those tips, you want to wait about 10 to 15 minutes. Now what this is going to do is give the tips a head start on the stripping, and so you're going to end up with much lighter tips as towards the end as you're going to get up the top. So you apply it on the ends, wait 15 minutes, and then you go back and you apply it onto the next section up, as you can see Melissa doing here. So you go up a few more inches above where you've just applied the strip, and you'll already see that starting to lift, and you apply the midsection. You then wait another 15 minutes and you go back and you apply the next section up. So almost sort of towards where the bunches start, you then apply the next amount. So you're doing that 3 times with 15 minutes between the first and the second. When you get to the third section, as demonstrated here, what you want to do is, for the best results, if you wrap the hair in cling film, especially if the hair is darker, what you'll get is a good level of lift on those 2 bottom sections that have been on for a while. So once that top section is on and you've wrapped that hair loosely in cling film, don't sort of squash it into the top bit because you don't want it to sort of merge into the natural colour. You leave that on for another 15 minutes to another 30 minutes. So basically you're giving it an hour development. So the ends have had the full hour, the mid-lengths have had round about 40 to 45 minutes, and then the top section gets 15 minutes. And all you want with those top sections is for it just to lighten enough to merge the natural colour to the second sections where it's lightened. So once you've done that and you've developed it, remove the cling film, and you can actually rinse the ombre with the bunches still in before you take the bunches out. So rinse it for a good couple of minutes with the bunches in, because it's quite easy to rinse with those bunches still in. And then you can apply the conclude balm to the ends and the mid-lengths, and then you can take the bunches out and the hair will be quite smooth because it's got the conclude balm onto it. So you conclude and you finish the hair. Now at this stage, if you want to tone the hair, you wanted to use something like Colour Restore, Ash or Platinum, you could do. Melissa has left the hair in its natural state, and what you'll see from this picture is that she's got a really good definition on her very long hair and very dark hair naturally, from the very light tips going all the way upward to the jawline almost. So in the pictures you can see outside, the hair is purely just ombre, so it's got a very rich texture to it, and it's got a real definition between those colours. So the key to remember when you're doing the ombre is make sure, 1, the hair is clarified, 2, to make sure that you put that hair into equal bunches, 3, you only need to mix up 50% of the stripper. If you want to go back and do it again, you can. If you want a much lighter result, you can do. Start by applying to the ends, wait 15 minutes, the mid-lengths another 15 minutes, and then the higher sections before you do the whole development. Rinse with the bunches still on, put the conclude balm with the bunches still on, then remove the bunches. And then after this, you can finish the hair and dry it, and if you want to tone it or colour over it with a different shade, you can do. And finally, this foundation method is really great for the over ombre look. So if you wanted a very subtle faded effect to a brunette or a dark blonde colour, you could apply a 6.1, the dark ash blonde shade to it, or a 7.1, a medium ash blonde shade to that ombre hair. And what you'll get is a very natural brunette to light brunette effect with the fading on the ends. So I hope that's helped, and if you have any questions, let me know via the Facebook page, and I will see you again next time.